Hey folks, Split here. I'm going to do a little video today about some things I picked up recently. I've got actually quite a stack of things here that I haven't processed or even listened to yet. But I'm going to show you a couple of things that I have listened to and some things that I got in the past couple of days. Alright, so let's do this. Got a little hawk wind going on in the background here. First thing, these guys were recommended to me by Deadwax66, whose name I cannot remember. His first name, is it Randy? Sorry. Freaks of Nature. They have, I think, one full-length album. And a couple of 7 inches. This happens to be one of their EPs, 7-inch EP. I got this directly from Slope Records on Discogs, and very good. I'm really happy with this, and I definitely want to pick up their full-length stuff. Just waiting for a good deal on that. Have it on my want list on Discogs, but this was excellent. Really happy with this, and quite a good quality item here. It's on nice thick vinyl, most 45s are, but it comes with a nice poly-lined little sleeve here. Really good garage rock. This is from, I have no idea what year this is from, but it's fairly recent. These guys are a newer band, but really good stuff. If you're into garage, man, I definitely recommend this. And thank you to Deadwax66 for recommending it to me. Actually, the next one is also something that I saw on the Deadwax66 channel. It's the Spits. These guys are punk rock. They've got an interesting sound, and I really dig it. When I first put this on, the first song sounded a lot like the Ramones to me, and I thought to myself, well, if this is going to be kind of a Ramones clone, that's going to be a little bit upsetting. But I mean, not that the first track was bad or anything, I enjoyed it. But once you get deeper into this thing, it's definitely not a Ramones clone. These guys are awesome. I highly recommend the Spits. They've got this kind of punk rock thing going on with a little bit of Devo. You've got some electronic stuff going on there. I'm not sure where these guys are from. I'm guessing California somewhere. It's on Slovenly is the label. It's actually got some cool labels. This is probably upside down. There you go. And I believe this is their second album. And I've got some more of their stuff on the way. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Looking forward to spinning it again. How do you like that? The Spits. Awesome. Thanks again, Deadwax66. That guy's channel, and I comment this to him almost every time I watch one of his videos, is dangerous to my wallet. There are a few of you out there that are like that. Vinyl Richie, Andrew at Tales from the Crate. Sorry, just drinking a little beer here. Yeah. Geez, I could go on and on. Steve Carlson. Beth from B-Side Records is always showing me soundtracks I gotta have. And I've got some stuff in here actually that Beth kind of turned me on to. But next up, something I got from Amazon. This is the first Stereolab that I have on vinyl. I've got, I've got Dots and Loops. I've got this. I've got Cobras and Phases. Emperor Tomato Ketchup. on CD. There's probably a couple more in there. Um, but this is the first one I've picked up on vinyl, and I'd like to get some more. I actually had ordered a copy of Cobras and Faces from some guy on Discogs, and got a message saying, "Oh, it's we don't have the record anymore. We sold it. Sorry." And I was like, "Damn it!" That was the first one I had seen that was available in the U.S., which I prefer, obviously, not to pay 20 bucks shipping. I'd rather pay $5 shipping. So I like to order stuff from the U.S. This I haven't seen one since that's a decent price. So I gotta wait for that one, I guess. I'll probably pick up Dots and Loops also, and probably Emperor Tomato Ketchup. But I got this guy. And the band played. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The group played Space Age Bachelor Pad Music. This is a good one. It's not my favorite Stereolab album, but it's awesome. I mean, if you're not familiar with Stereolab, I highly recommend checking them out. I think there's a little something for everybody in that band. If you are, then you'll know that pretty much all of their stuff is good. This is no exception. It's got some cool custom labels. Well, let me show you that one since it's right side up first. And geez, what the hell is this on? This is on Too Pure. I don't know. I'm not even sure if that's the label they've always been on. I generally don't pay too much attention to that stuff. But anyway, Stereolab, awesome stuff. The next one is a soundtrack. And it is La Planète Sauvage. I don't really speak French, so I probably butchered that, but the English is The Fantastic Planet. And I've seen people showing this before in the VC, but I just picked this up as a reissue on Amazon. The Stereolab was also from Amazon, if I didn't mention that. This is amazing. This is really good. This is 1973, and it's just good, kind of funky, avant-garde, interesting stuff out of France. Highly recommended, and I think that pretty much everyone feels the same way about this album. Also has some custom labels. But pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So I can get this back in here. I don't know why I even bother. Alright. The next few here are from Real Gone Music. Reissues. First up is the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack. This is a really good soundtrack. And I really wanted an original pressing of this. Unfortunately, good copies of this album are like, 100, 150 bucks, something like that on Discogs, and I'm not looking to spend. I didn't want it that badly, but I kept looking and I kept trying to find something decent. But the only ones that were affordable were like VG at best on the vinyl, and more likely G plus. And there's no way I'm taking any kind of chance on that kind of thing there. But anyway, good stuff on here. You've got the Damned, you've got the Cramps, you've got 45 Grade, you've got TSOL, Rocky Erickson is on here, the Tall Boys, Jet Black Berries. Really, really good stuff. Punk rock and hard rock stuff. But this is on fancy colored vinyl. They call it Bone and Zombie Blood. I don't know. The colored vinyl thing is kind of getting out of hand. I don't know how everyone else feels about that. And I've had decent luck with like translucent colored vinyl. It seems to sound as good as black vinyl. But when you start getting into the marble stuff, like the one I just showed, I find it has some surface noise to it. You know, so far in the stuff that I have that is like a marbly, or even some of the stuff that I have that's just an opaque colored vinyl, it seems to be inherent. I don't know what the deal is with that. You know, I've always heard that colored vinyl doesn't sound as good, but I've never run into, you know, an issue with it. At least with the translucent stuff. I have quite a few translucent colored vinyl albums, and like I said, they sound pretty much like black vinyl to me. So I don't know, but pretty much all the stuff that I've gotten on marble vinyl recently has a lot of surface noise, and this next one is no exception. Although this one's not as bad as some of the others, and they're by no means unlistenable. You can definitely still play these without too much of a problem. And there's not too many quiet spots on the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack anyway. So next up, Soft Machine. I think Bill from the Vinylverse showed this recently, and actually so did Beth from B-Sides, who, by the way, is the one who kind of steered me towards Real Gone. By the way, I didn't mention the reason why I got this one instead of getting a original pressing was because that was only like $19, and you know, I was like, what the hell, man, might as well pick it up. But anyway, back to this one. Soft Machine, live at the Paradiso. This is very good. I enjoy it quite a bit. I don't have any this is the only Soft Machine that I have, although I have heard Soft Machine before, and I like them very much. I don't feel the fault is with the band. I don't feel the fault is with Real Gone music. But I think that they probably could have pulled better excerpts. If you're going to take a whole show and put it on one record, you should probably pull the cream from that show and put it on there. There are some slow spots on there, I have to say. Overall, it's excellent, though. I think side 2 is probably a little better than side 1. The good stuff that's on here is really good. And by no means let it discourage you from purchasing this. In fact, I got this for like $8 on Real Gone. They were having a sale, and Beth posted a video about it, and I went over and took a look and spent like $40. I got a bunch of cool stuff. Cool custom labels on here. Fancy marbled vinyl. And this one's not too bad. Some of the other ones I've gotten are a lot worse. As far as surface noise, like I was talking about earlier. But this is really good. I dig it a lot. Very happy with it, and you know, for $8, I mean, you can't lose. Thank you, Beth. Another one from Real Gone. Now this one, this is a 10-inch EP of the Dictators. It's actually almost an LP. There's like six tracks on here, and I haven't even opened this yet. The reason why I haven't opened it yet is I was a little disappointed, and I didn't really pay attention to what I was buying. This is, let me just read the hype sticker, 3 brand new thunderous remixes, reimaginings by Andrew W.K. What? From the proto-punk classic album, The Dictators' Go Girl Crazy. Plus 3 unreleased outtakes from the original album sessions featuring newly discovered recording Backseat Booty. Now, I'm definitely going to open this at some point and at least listen to side B that has the previously unreleased stuff or outtakes. But the Andrew WK thing doesn't interest me in the least. I'm not really sure why they would do such a thing. I don't know. I was kind of bummed when I saw that, but again, this was like $6. It's worth it alone for the outtakes and the previously unreleased stuff. So, whatever. I'll take it. The Dictators. Alright. that was all the new stuff I think I have to show. The rest of the stuff I got on Discogs over the past couple of days. This was a little disappointing. Frank Zappa, well, it's the Mothers. Overnight Sensation. This is a 1973, yeah, 1973 album, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's 1973. And the seller had this listed as a 1973 pressing. It wasn't listed as a reissue at all. But upon further inspection, looking at the matrix numbers on the label, this is actually a pressing from 1977. So I'm kind of bummed about that. That's not cool. I'm gonna have to contact him and see what he can do for me or whatever. I'm just gonna contact him and let him know anyway. I haven't listened to it yet. I gotta give it a clean. I just got it yesterday in the mail, and I'll give it a listen. I mean, if it's a bad press, I'll probably send it back. But I don't know. You know, I could probably look it up. I'm sure there's plenty of information about anything Zappa, I'm sure, online, and you know, I can find out what pressings are good and what pressings are bad. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer, you know, when they do that, and it's something that never should happen. I mean, it was easy enough for me to figure it out in like 2 minutes. He should have probably figured that out pretty quickly also. But regardless, this is probably my favorite era for Zappa. A lot of jazz fusion stuff. You know, it's like I know that One Size Fits All is pretty much a fan favorite with Zappa fans, and I'm no exception. I really love that album. One of the things that make that album for me is George Duke. George Duke's vocals and his keyboard, just awesome. And he's also on this record. I'm not sure if he does any vocals. I don't think he does. I think he just does keyboards on this one. But that's cool. And yeah, good stuff. Hopefully a decent pressing. Next up from the same seller was Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. This album I've been looking for in the wild for years, and I've never come across it. Not even one time. I don't think they pressed a whole lot of vinyl for this release. I think it was mostly cassette and some CD. Vinyl at that point, I think this was like 1985. Yeah, 1985. Vinyl was pretty much dead as a doornail at that point. You know, they were really phasing it out. So they didn't do a whole lot of vinyl pressings for this one. I think that's the case. I'm imagining that's why I've had such a hard time finding it, because it wasn't like they didn't sell enough of this album. But yeah, this is a great album. If you're into the 80s, I'm sure you all know Tears for Fears. This has Shout, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, and Head Over Heels. Head Over Heels is probably my favorite Tears for Fears song. I also really like Mad World, which unfortunately is not on this album, but what are you gonna do? But this is a really good record. Even the other tracks on here are good stuff. So I'm happy to have it finally. When I first started collecting vinyl, this one's on Mercury, by the way. I'll show the label. I know I'm terrible at that. I never do. No one's ever called me on it yet, but I noticed that everybody else does. And Mercury. When I first started collecting vinyl, my goal was to have an 80s synth pop, post-punk, new wave collection, and try not to veer outside of that. That didn't last long. You know, it's too hard. I like too many types of music, and there's no way I can collect just one type like that. You know, I just started buying. I would be like, you know, digging in the crates and see stuff that I just had to have, regardless of whether it was the 80s or whatever. Sorry. This, by the way, is a local brew, Back East Brewery here in Connecticut. That's where I live. This is their Oktoberfest. It's alright. Nothing to write home about. I do like their other stuff, but the Oktoberfest is, it's alright. So yeah, that's where I started collecting, and you know, that went by the wayside pretty quickly. Alright, so next up, also from Discogs, Tommy Rowe, Fantasy, with a PH. Now, I don't know much about Tommy Rowe. What I've gathered is that this guy kind of jumped around from genre to genre. That's what it seems like to me. Whatever, you know, was happening at the time, I guess, is what he was doing to pay the bills. And of course, you know, that's hard to respect an artist who does such things, if that's the case. I'm not totally sure on that. That's just what it seemed like to me, because he had a bunch of different genre records. But I gave this a little bit of a listen, and I'll tell you what, this is pretty good pop psych, this album right here. And I think I've seen, I don't remember who, I think somebody else has shown this album at, you know, probably multiple people, but I've seen it shown by somebody at least. This is the kind of thing that will put you in a time and place, you know. It's definitely, the couple of tracks that I listened to were pop psych that you would hear like on the radio. I have I think I've mentioned this before, I've got a stereo console from like the 60s, an RCA stereo console that doesn't really work at the moment. I have to get somebody to fix it for me. But once I have that thing set up, man, I can't wait to hear an album like this coming out of those giant speakers. It's going to be very nostalgic. Not that I lived in the 60s, I was born in 1970, but anyway, ABC Records. Pretty generic, but yeah, Tommy Rowe, Fantasy, and this is I haven't got the slightest idea what year this is from. I'm gonna guess probably somewhere between 67 and 69. That would be my guess. And the record stopped. I don't even know if you guys can hear that. That's we were listening to Hawkwind, by the way. And no, this isn't the fancy fold-out shield cover. This is just a reissue. Alright, next up, Brian Auger. Brian Auger's Oblivion Express. Yeah, I gave a couple of tracks a listen on this, and it's, I don't like it. Jeez, what's the name of that other album I have? There's another Brian Auger album. You know, it's shown quite a bit in the VC. Shoot, I should have pulled it out. It's also in this stack, I think. Maybe I put it away. Anyway, this one not as good as the other Brian Auger that I have, an earlier Brian Auger than this one, but it's pretty cool. And this particular seller on Discogs, if you bought 5 or more LPs, he would do free shipping. And most of these albums, in fact, that Tommy Rowe that I just showed and this one, I think were like $3 each. So I'm like, what the hell, you know, even if there's a couple of tracks on here that I dig, it'll work. You know, it's better than paying $5 shipping for nothing. Gatefold, rear of the album. But Brian Auger's pretty cool. He's kind of a experimental jazz fusion thing. Very interesting, actually. The other album that I have of his is like psych leaning. Very cool stuff, and I should have had it out. I'll show it in a future video. This is on RCA, plain orange RCA. And this album is from 1975. And some pretty funky sweaters on everyone there. Alright. Next up, this is my first Genesis album prior to the 80s on vinyl. Bill from the Vinylverse, don't hate me. But I'm just starting to get around to getting some Genesis on vinyl, some early Genesis on vinyl. But this stuff is, you know, that's the stuff I want. I don't particularly care for the later stuff. You know, I think I have Abacab, and I've got like the self-titled Genesis album from, what is that, like 83, maybe 84, something like that. I think, and I've got a live Genesis album, which actually does have Peter Gabriel on it, which is very good. I just picked up this album, just got it in the mail today, and actually the past few that I've shown were just got them today. On ABC Records. This is a 1970 release, I believe. Trespass, I believe it's their second album for Genesis. This one is a reissue from '74. That's why I got it for like $3. But that's okay. It makes a good placeholder for now. It's on ABC. The seller had a lot of stuff on ABC. I don't know, maybe he used to work for ABC or something, or who knows. This is a great album. I don't think I have to tell most of you that. Really dig it quite a bit. You know, I at the very least, I'm glad to have this, and I'd like to pick up a better copy. I'd really like to have Foxtrot on vinyl. I'd like to have Selling Them by the Pound. You know, a few others, for sure. But this is great. The recording on this one, not so great. Peter Gabriel's vocals seem to be like a little muffled. That's where it's most noticeable in the recording. But like I said, it's a placeholder, and it's you know, I'll listen to this thing all day regardless. So yeah, Genesis Trespass. And last but not least, Gong. Same seller as the last couple. This, I don't know if it's, you know, I don't know much about Gong, to be honest. I have listened to some of their stuff in the past, but I don't own any of it. This is the first venture into Gong as far as owning it. But wow, I love this album. And I don't even think this is one of their best regarded albums. It's like their fourth album or fifth album, something like that. But Gong You. Here's the back. This is really good stuff. It's jammy. I mean, it fits in a lot of different genres. Prog, psych, here's the beautiful, beautiful Virgin label. This is one of my favorite labels. I think a lot of people feel that way, but it's really cool. But man, I can't wait to get some more of this stuff. Unfortunately, it's pretty expensive, and I'm not sure if they've reissued any of it. But this is an original from '74, I believe. '74. I don't know why they have to hide the dates on so many records. I think it's, you know, something people would want to know. But anyway, awesome album. Very happy with this one. I haven't spun this one, but I have, you know, I've heard this album before. So I'm hoping there's not a lot of surface noise or anything on here. But man, it's good. It's good. This album really jams. This is the kind of stuff that I can listen to, you know, all day, every day, just have it going. yeah, gong. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. There'll be more stuff coming. Hoping to do maybe some sort of a little Halloween video or something like that. We'll see. I probably should have saved that Return of the Living Dead soundtrack for that, though, huh? Well, we'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.